conflict he had just left.
I mean, this was only 2 years after the Battle of Mirbat, and unlimited supplies of ammunition, you know, whacking away with a 5.0 Browning, you know, heavy combat. And then suddenly, I'm there on the streets of Belfast, having been brainwashed into this, you know, don't pull your shooter in case the guy's unarmed, and only pull your shooter if you can identify a weapon. And on it goes, the rules and regulations. You can no longer give it kill or be killed on full throttle.
Just after he arrived in Ireland, Snapper was being driven through Belfast by an undercover policeman when 2 men tried to hijack their car. The kind of restraint required in the UK went against all his instincts as a battle-hardened SAS man.
So there I am, driving up the Falls Road. Only been in the province two weeks, and we were doing a familiarisation exercise. Unbeknownst to me, the cop had left his door open, which is bad practice, bad practice. Next minute, this heavy guy, big bloke, came running around the back of the car, got the car door open. He obviously wanted the car for a bomb job. And it's, you know, get out the car or blow your effing head off, all this kind of stuff. And my heart was pounding, you know, the closeness of it all, you know. I looked at this guy and I could see he had his hand inside the bomber jacket, but couldn't see a pistol. I already had my 9mm Browning underneath a copy of the News of the World with the safety catch off. I thought, double tap, it's all over for you, mate. And I was just waiting for him to show that pistol, that's all. Hesitation, because of the brainwashing drilled into you. Don't open fire until you see a weapon. So, didn't open fire, and he's there, get out of the car, I'll blow your effing head off.
Soldiers in Northern Ireland are each given a yellow card. Its exact contents are secret, but it summarises the law governing when they may open fire.
In the yellow card, it does tell you in no uncertain terms that if you do open fire and kill somebody who's not armed, you know, you could be in for a murder rap. When you're in UK, you've got to play the political game. Or we have to. The IRA don't. They couldn't care less what Whitehall say. They don't have a yellow card. Whenever they're going to do an operation, when they get their weapon out of the army, wherever it is, they know they're going to open fire and they're going to kill people whether they are armed or not. Not us. It's total nonsense to me.
The attacker had threatened to shoot Snapper and the policeman, giving the impression that he had a gun in his pocket. As he staggered back, there was no gun in his hand.
You know, so if I'd have double tapped him, it would have been me in court the next day. So this is the kind of situation that you're confronted with in Northern Ireland. You know, you're not in control.
As it happened, he didn't open fire, and thank goodness for him. And you know, those kind of incidents have taken place throughout the British military involvement in Northern Ireland.
It is an area of deliberate ambiguity in which the man at the sharp end, particularly if it's an SAS soldier, he's frankly left to use his own judgment.
The role of the SAS was to be the cutting edge, to do the jobs which were too difficult or dangerous for the less highly trained regular army and police. The regiment was expert in gathering information behind enemy lines, and these skills were taken to a new level in Northern Ireland. Soldiers would frequently spend days or even weeks in observation posts, or OPs. Watching the terrorists was dangerous and grueling work, as one SAS soldier remembers. To protect his anonymity, his words are spoken by an actor.
The main job of the regiment was to gain information. They had the sort of inbuilt skills for OPs and different ways of getting information that the Green Army didn't. And the best way to get information is through eyeball.
Mounting an OP in Catholic South Armagh meant remaining unseen, dug into a ditch or amongst the hedgerows in what was known as bandit country.
The way their ASUs work, you know, their active service units, they're going to use an area and they'd get that area cleared. I mean, even little kids, they'd send little kids in to walk around the hedgerows, things like that. I mean, they weren't stupid. You get the old farmer and his dog, and they're not doing checks on the cattle, they're checking, looking for signs of OPs. There's only certain places you can hide, you know, a ditch, a bush, you're in a cow field or something. And you know, cows, they are inquisitive and they'll come along and they'll stand there for hours because they know somebody's in there and there's nothing you can do.
Such covert operations were even more difficult right under the noses of suspected terrorists in built-up areas.
And when we got down there, we had to really review our tactics, we had to really review our procedures.
In urban terrorism, it's a special kind of soldiering which requires new techniques to blend in into the urban milieu.
The SAS would usually set up an observation post or OP at night, perhaps in a disused building, and they would have to stay put, sometimes for weeks.
You go in there and you've got human functions, you know, you're in there for time. You've got to eat and you've got to go to the toilet, so I mean, you can't just sort of have a dump and leave it in the back of the room because you've got to be in there. The smell and then hygiene and all the rest of it, so it's plastic bag jobbers, you know. You've got a building that's supposed to be derelict. I mean, the slightest bit of noise as well. I mean, the moment you drop something, anything, you know, your camera or something, and you get this clunk coming from a derelict building, they know that somebody's in there. And there was one job, I won't say where, but the lads were in there and the local kids come along and, you know, they get a little fire going and the building went on fire. And the lads are upstairs and they've had to be pulled out. I think it was actually lit by the baddies just to flush them out or burn them alive.
The crucial difference between the SAS and the multitude of specialist intelligence agencies in Northern Ireland was that they were there to react aggressively to what they saw in front of them when necessary.
They'll be squatting in their bush, peering out, waiting for something to happen. When it does happen, you know, unlike surveillance teams, they're not just going to write it down. They're going to be springing out, sort of guns blazing.
But more often than not, they were in fact restrained from taking such action. Perhaps because it might blow an informer's cover, perhaps for legal reasons. The struggle against the IRA could never officially be called a war, but the SAS went to elaborate lengths to kill terrorists within the restrictions imposed by the yellow card. In May 1987, the SAS learned through intelligence that the IRA were planning to bomb the police station in the village of Lough Gall. The SAS planned an ambush and were lying in wait when, as predicted, two terrorists drove up to the station in a digger with a 200-pound bomb in its bucket. Then a further 6 IRA men armed with assault rifles arrived in a blue Toyota van. The SAS watched and waited, hidden in a nearby wood. The rules prevented them from opening fire unless the terrorists presented a clear threat to life. But the police station was normally empty. So to create the necessary target, it is said that the SAS had deliberately placed soldiers inside it. Then it all happened. 3 IRA terrorists then leapt out of the van and started shooting at the police station. Another jumped out of the digger and lit the bomb's fuse with a Zippo lighter. Now the SAS had the justification they needed to open fire. Moments later, all 8 IRA men were dead. But it was too late to do anything about the bomb. It exploded, flattening one end of the police station and injuring some of those inside. But another tragic result of this elaborate plot was that 2 innocent men who happened to be driving by had also been shot. One of them died. Nevertheless, the operation was regarded as